Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better. And today I'm happy because we have the CEO, founder, creative man of mystery himself of Stampede Social, Jeff Dwoskin. Jeff, thank you so much for being here.
Great to be here. I like your name because
like
like feel better. It's
yeah. It's the whole thing. It's a whole marketing strategy. Went down a deep dive. I went back in time to convince my great grandfather to change the name to Better, so I could become Phil Better. So yeah, it's a lot. It costs a lot of money, but that was the thing. So I can earmark Phil Better, so everybody can feel better when they come on the show. So Jeff, do you feel better?
Yeah, it's time to feel better.
There you go. All right, Jeff. We already talked. We talked about your podcast on my other show, so I know a bit about you. I know you showed me Stampede Social. I was blown away. But I want you to introduce you to my audience currently, the entrepreneurial group. So please let us know a bit about yourself.
Sure. I consider myself somewhat of a digital entrepreneur. Little background, late 90s, I had one of the very first internet development companies in Michigan, at least. And it was acquired by a company called US Web. This was late 90s when the web was first emerging and it was all the rage. So we rode that .com bomb, if you will.
You had the boom and you're at the bomb.
The boom and the bomb. There was days on E-Trade where I'm like, I just made more money than everyone I know. Oh, I just lost more money than everyone I know. So that was fun. Anyway, so we built websites for a lot of great companies, and we were. I mean, just to give you an idea, if you even remember what the Flash technology, remember that's not even around anymore. We built stuff with it when it was called ActiveX before Adobe even bought it. Yeah, I've got.
Jeez, that's legacy OG.
Oh yeah, it's I have Photoshop in my basement before it was Adobe. It's like.
Dang, you're
going oldest PageMaker and oldest Photoshop in my basement in the box on floppy disks. Things used to come in floppy disks, guys.
You're blowing these people's minds.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's funny when you think back on stuff. I remember when a zip disk, they came out with these zip drive, 100 meg. And you're like, holy cow.
That's
I can
so
put
much.
100 meg on one thing. Insane. My life is so much better now. It's so much better. I don't even think like one of the test files where I'm editing a podcast is like a gig. It's like it's crazy. So yeah, we back then in late 90s we were doing some pretty cool cutting edge stuff with happened to have a real brilliant IT person that was building databases that you could update on the fly, which now sounds like, Jeff, I do that all the time. But back then it wasn't a thing yet back then. And so we did that, and I had some corporate jobs in between, but then there was a time where I built an app called #Roundup from 2015 till January of 2023. We kind of ruled Twitter with these hashtag games, call and response games. Trended over 8,000 hashtags in the United States. Worked with brands. They did hashtag engagement exercises with us. And so that was, it was pretty cool. That's sort of like where Stampede Social, the seeds of Stampede Social were born. We built originally automation technology on Twitter, and then we kind of saw where Twitter was going, and we kind of moved away. And we had done an MVP for Reddit, and we then decided to focus on Instagram because we felt like Instagram is where everyone was and the brands are, and it's still safe. And it's for being such a popular app, it has a lot of shortcomings in terms of being able to manage and measure campaigns on it. It's easy to put a lot of things in motion on Instagram. It's not easy to do a lot of things after that point. So we rebranded ourselves as Stampede Social, and we put together a suite of tools that recently we rolled out as a creator set. So creators, podcasters, coaches, anybody who has content they want to engage with their fans. The core thing that this does on Instagram is it gets content to your fans without you having to send them to link in bio, which is a huge deterrent and a lot of friction. So just a little engagement, and they get a DM with your link. What's extremely unique about this is though it's I send you a unique URL. So when you get that URL, Phil, that was specifically created for you. So on my tracking, I know I sent that link to Phil. I know I sent it to you because you used a particular hashtag on a particular post, when you did it, if you clicked on it, how many times you clicked on it, and then I can even track if you completed the action on the other side. So it does a bunch of other stuff, but I feel like I'm rambling about it. But
no, this is great, because everyone who's listening is like, oh, I need that, because like when you showed this to me, I was like, holy shit, this is amazing, because it's completely different than all the other tools that I've seen in the game. Like I've seen Chatmatic, which is a bot that just chats with your potential customers, sends them a DM to start a conversation, but you can't really track if they follow through with everything. Whereas with you, your system, Stampede Social, you can follow everything. You can see the number of times they clicked. You have like, did they complete, like you said, to complete the action? You set it up and you forget it, and like 15 days down the line, someone clicks on that or comments on it, they're still getting that engagement. You can see how much. What was the biggest sticking point creating Stampede Social for you?
The biggest sticking point was just, I don't know. You know, it's so brilliant. I don't know.
It's just perfect. It worked right off the bat.
When you say sticking point, like in what category do you mean sticking point? Like from like what was there an obstacle? I mean,
yeah, like what kind of obstacle?
Yeah, okay, I got it. So the what's unique about Stampede Social is that we use the same meta technology that other folks do, the APIs that are available, but the sticking part was we had a different vision for how it should work, and making it work that way, and then getting Meta to understand that through the acceptance process. That was like, just the work that we did to put into it, because one of the unique things we do is we collect all the comments for you for every post, reel, or even very specifically Instagram live events. So you're basically creating this engagement database, and we define engagement as commenting. Likes are fine, and I'm sure they make you feel fabulous, but really the level of engagement you really want is people commenting. Those are the real committed folks. That's how you know who your real tribe is. And so we collect all those, and then we give you top engager reports. Phil commented 50 times over the last 6 months. Phil requested X number of your podcast episodes over the last 6 months. So you can start to get information down to that at level, which you can't really get from any of the other platforms out there. People say, oh, what's your competitor? And it's like, well, there's pieces of this that exist in other places. But my kind of point of view and thinking when building this is, how like in Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel, you know how to do 5 things in each of those. Like you know how to bold and make bullets, and maybe one day you learned how to mail merge and then forgot a day.
When I learned mail merge, it was insane.
Right. Okay. So, but of those 5 things that you know how to do in each of those programs, there's 10,000 things that you can do in each of those programs, right? You don't use them or don't know them, or, so that was sort of the rationale, is like, take the best of the things that really people needed and put them together in one tool. And from a creator point of view, if you can't afford one of these extensive inbox management tools, then what you end up with is ability to go in and have a dashboard where you can respond to comments made on your posts, and it gives you all your post stats and a report of all your collective posts and their stats, things that you need other softwares for. And you can run giveaways on any post or reel or Instagram Live. It has a built-in winner selection tool. So if you say comment below and do this, you get 1,000 comments, just click our button and it dedupes and randomizes the entire list of comments and gives you a winners list, a full winners list. So it does like a million little things in addition to like the large things, so that for a creator, it's crazy. It's crazy good. Very valuable.
That's insane. That's insane that you have all these amazing tools inside it. And how long did it take you guys to build this tool?
It's been an evolution. The original kind of idea for it evolved. So I'd say the technology originally built on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we adapted to Instagram, we slowly, as we were showing people some of the early stuff, they're like, oh, well, this is what I do. And then we'd kind of build that in. And so I'd say the core technology was probably worked on through, say, last October. From that point, we've added AI tools and other things along the way after ChatGPT rolled out and you had access to those AI APIs. And then what we spent this year doing is taking that technology and bundling it into packages so it could be a creator model, so that and fully automate it and it can intertwine it with a subscription service, so you can all that can be managed. So that's where we've been spending some of the time, and then we launched that about a month ago. And so now we're getting ready to put our foot down on the gas, and then we're going to add in additional AI
Perks.
AI reporting and stuff like that. Right now, it's like one cool feature is that comes with any of the levels is when the posts come in and you get the comments to the post, there's an AI help button, and it'll create a response to that comment for you. And you can set your tone and theme. And the tone and the theme each have 50 kind of options in there. So like 2,900 combinations. So you can play with it to figure out what your voice is. But what that does is you could be like a sarcastic comedian or a witty social media person, like that kind of thing, right? Figure out what works for you. And then when you hit AI reply, it's not just replying to the comment cold in that theme and tone. We can read the caption because we have access to all the data. So if you just say rock on and it's about this particular musician, it'll likely pull in the musician's name into the response because it can give you a much more robust response than just replying to rock on, it's some generic thing AI can come up with. So and then you can edit it, AI is awesome, but definitely edit. And and so
do an editorial look at your work and see, and before you submit it, go back to school.
And then in some of our more advanced plans, we have some more advanced AI reporting where like you could put in your competitor's Instagram account and then you can run a competitive analysis. It'll grab their captions, do a little marketing analysis, and give you a report based on, here's what their call to actions are. Here's their themes, their hashtags they're using, stuff you can do to compete against them, things like that. So again, you know what I mean?
Jesus.
So it's, and there's like a lot of little, if I could go on, it's like,
go on, like use this to sell, because this is genius, because I really do love what you're doing with your company, because it is something that creators need. Like podcasters, as a podcaster yourself, you know how much work just running a podcast is solo. So add on top of it that we have to do our own social media management, and people are asking for posts, or if we want to do this type of engagement, you're like, here, for X amount a month, that's cheaper than most of these management companies and does a shit ton more. here, we're going to handle your stuff. You just pay us. It's all automated. You follow the tutorials, boom, 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 done. And then every time someone puts up, they can do a new campaign, they can do a new thing, and that's just going to run forever for them. And it's just making their lives so much simpler and smoother. So please tell us more what your product can do, because this is an amazing product for podcasters and business owners who are listening.
So, to set up a campaign is really easy. So let's say, hypothetically, you wanted to send people to Good Pods. Okay. So you could go to Good Pods, grab the URL of that particular episode. You go in, you type in the hashtag, let's say it's Loretta Swit from MASH. So I type in MASH, and then I just pop in the URL of the Good Pods URL for that episode, hit add, boom, done. And so what that means is you've now created a campaign that will work in any post, any reel, as a comment to a story, direct to DM, meaning as a podcaster, you could say, hey, and if you want to hear this episode, go to my DM and just DM me hashtag MASH, and I'll send you a link to the episode. And also in Instagram Live, you can comment on Instagram Live. Now, the comment, one thing to kind of keep in mind, what is kind of really cool about this that may not be apparent right away, is you go, oh, well, Jeff, on a story, I can just put my URL sticker. I don't need to, right? And so what's fascinating about not using the URL sticker, and the same thing that's fascinating about as a podcaster being able to drive them with a verbal call to action, is you're converting what was once anonymous into something that is now a known, right? So let's just break down the story for a second. It only exists for 24 hours, right? And as much as I would want to believe that Phil Better, when he comes across any story of mine for one of my podcasts, that he stops his life and listens to that hour-long podcast and then moves on with his life because of the random moment that he happened to see my thing. That's not how life works, right, folks? So what happens is you go, oh, this is great. I'll try and remember it. Or I click on it, and now it's just open on your phone somewhere, and that gets lost.
It ends up getting closed out.
Right? Or, it's you say, I'll go back to it later, and next thing you know, it's 3 days later, and it's a story, so it's gone. So if you get them to comment, hey, comment hashtag MASH, then what happens is they get a DM, and they have a link. And the beauty of that is they can go to it whenever they want to go to it. And they know where it is because it's in their DM. We see sometimes over 100% click-through rate on some of these things because they know where it is. You can think about how many times on LinkedIn and this and that you save stuff. I joke that I could retire on the knowledge I've saved and have no idea where it is, right? I mean, it's like, so this puts it in their inbox, and then it makes it real easy for them to go back to it and see it. From a podcast point of view, if you drive them from an audio call out, now you've converted listeners, and you know who was listening because they did that, right? So it works actually the same way with why create the engagement on a post or reel versus just sending them to link in bio. It's the same concept because now you know who did it. Otherwise, you never know who did it. And you know from the intention, not even if they bothered to click through it or not, right? If you just go to a link in a bio and then find that link, if you can find it, or the web page that looks like the Instagram, right? It's like, and you click on that, you don't really have great data that you can dive into. You have numbers. But forget numbers. I know it was Phil or whatever your Instagram handle is, right? So it gives you, and I sort of have now in my inbox, I could follow up with you. Hey, how'd you like that? How'd you like that? How
did you join the episode? What kind of questions would you, oh my God.
Right. And they're more likely to tell you as well because you've started this conversation, right?
Yeah.
And so, so that's really cool. And during a live event, you can do the same thing. Go live on Instagram, and we collect all those comments. So get people just to even say hi, right? And there's built-in winner selection tool, so you could do giveaways on the fly, all that kind of good stuff. The other cool thing, there's so many cool things. This is all on the website, stampede.social. But like the other cool thing is it generates a QR code for you. And so, well, it generates more than one, but one in particular that's really cool is one that opens up your Instagram DM. So my use case for that and for a speaker is when I spoke at Podfest on the art of celebrity interviewing. At the end of it, I put up that QR code. I said, DM me #slides. Okay. And then and you'll get a link to my presentation. Now, what's cool about that is they're probably mine will be the only one that they have later to remember from the 3-day long thing, because what happens when you sit there in a conference and you open up everyone's QR code, which just opens up a web page, which opens up just a browser on your phone, which you never go back to. And especially if it's a download, you don't download it, because who downloads that stuff to your phone? No, I don't. Do you? I don't. And so by creating that engagement, think of yourself as a speaker. Maybe you're selling a product, right? Not just a podcaster, right? And so if there's 100 people in the audience and 10 do it, right? Well, you can go, oh no. Well, that's the reality. 10 did it, whether you knew 10 did or not.
Yeah,
right?
this is just showing you the
Yeah.
actual numbers.
But now you know which 10, right? Before you didn't. So if Phil did it and requested it, I now have a lead list, right, of everybody who was in that audience and who wanted my information. I can follow up either via DM or there's a report. You can just download the report and do it that way as well. So those are it's kind of those are the main cool things. And then there's like some other little finessey things you can do, but that's what people are doing. You know?
This is insane. With what you've done, like for speakers, like you hit multiple case studies that this software, your program, your product will help. Like podcasters, it will help us get more, actually know who's listening, who's engaging with us, our true fans. Like Pat Flynn says, the 1,000 true fans, that's all you need, or the super fans. Speakers, they can, hey, book hey, if you want a copy of my book or this, that, QR code. The reporting, so exactly, so that you can go, hey, my lives usually get X amount, so if you want to sponsor it, like this is what the engagement kind of looks like. And it's just making every person in every niche giving more robust information that we can use.
Yeah, exactly. The key is all in the reporting and all that kind of stuff. It's really interesting what data you can get. And if you like to dive into the data, like here's some things that are coming soon, right?
Okay.
So coming soon are, if you have a post and it has tons of comments on it, we'll have an AI tool where you can analyze the comments. Just so, in case anyone doesn't understand the power of comments, because I'm not going to assume everyone does. I had to learn that at one point as well. But comments themselves, if you can grab them all, like we have one person that uses Stampede Social, he has over 6,000 comments in his database, right? So what a trick with social media is build content based on what people are talking about. So when you post something and they chatter, sometimes there's like hidden things in there that you can go, oh, this would be interesting. I can get ideas from the comments that people are making. If there's a resounding amounts of certain positive thing about creating call to actions, create more posts about creating call to actions, go deeper on certain things, maybe find an expert, bring him on your podcast or her on your podcast, and all those kind of things. So it creates this kind of reservoir of
fancy
of like just really great stuff that on Instagram you don't have access to. I didn't even talk about like user generated content stuff, but
well, we have to save them so that they can come talk to you. Like we don't want to give away the whole house here of what Stampede Social can do. Like you said, like you alluded to, there's user generated content, which a lot of businesses thrive on because it helps them out and generate pretty much free content for them. And we know how powerful word of mouth is. So having that as an access point is amazing. Jeff, I want to know, where do you see yourself and Stampede Social in like 10 years? I snap my fingers, we're 10 years in the future. What do you think you're doing? Like, are you still at the head of Stampede Social, or are you off gallivanting around the world because you sold it for multi-billions of dollars?
Phil, I'm on an island somewhere. And I just probably for the 5th time that day accidentally poked my nose with that umbrella. Why do you keep putting these umbrellas in my drinks? Stop it. They're so sharp and pointy. And, that would, once, that, I joke about that, but the reality is, I'm like you. I'm sure you're the same way. I don't think I'd ever retire. I'd always figure out something else to do. And I love creating things, So that was part of the passion and why it's important. I think everyone to know like that, I've done other businesses, but also I'm a podcaster. I'm a creator as well. So, that's why it was important to me to kind of evolve this into a creator model. Cause I realized that the power of it was so strong for people. And, it's expensive to have the big tools, and you can get a lot of cool things from Stampede Social that are in those big tools that, let's face it, when I worked with a brand, they're using Sprinkler, which before you all run out, it's like $100,000 a year or something like that. Like huge enterprise companies use that. And yes, they can have reports similar to the ones, but most people aren't going to afford that. You know what I mean? Especially if you're a creator and you're hustling like we hustle to get people to see what we do and embrace what we do. So, building in some of those types of reports that you can only get there, making it easy just to add users, which can cost $100 a user, I mean, just to add someone to have access, that kind of thing. So that was, kind of really important to us as well, to kind of really put the power in the hands of the creator and kind of level the playing field a bit,
I love that. Jeff, what advice would you give your 10-year-old self?
What advice would I give to my 10-year-old self?
This is the last question of the show. What advice, being your journey that you've had so far, you're able to go back and give yourself, your 10-year-old self, one piece of advice. What are you giving him?
I think I would try and convince myself to be more self-confident than I was back then. You know what I mean? Everyone has doubts, but I think if you really believe in something, you got to push through that. It's almost like the world is created to make you doubt, and you got to push through that and believe in yourself and whatever your passion or dream is, or the thing you believe you need to make real and make it real.
I love it. It's great. Jeff, I'm going to jump off stage here. I'm going to let you tell my audience where they can follow you, where they can support you, where they can find your podcast, which is full of amazing guests like Alex Winter. Huge fan of Alex Winter. And we talked about it on the other podcast.
They can go to the other podcast to hear about.
They can go listen to the other one. That will be in the show notes down below. But Jeff, please tell my audience where they can follow you and learn more about Stampede Social.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody, go to stampede.social. And it kind of lays it all out there because Phil's so awesome. If you do go to the plans pricing page and honor me by signing up, if you do the Creator Pro or Creator Pro Plus plan and use the promo code INVEST50, INVEST50, you'll get 50% off. So you can get the Creator Pro for the creator price. And as a podcaster, you're going to need the middle or a big one. So take 50% off. That's forever. Enjoy it. And thanks for listening. I appreciate it. And we look forward to your feedback. I want to hear if you do honor me by using it. Please let me know how you're using it. I'm excited to see what other people figure out and different ways to use it. That's to me what is exciting, what I'm waiting to really embrace. And that's it. We've been building it based on feedback and new ideas, new features. So it's a real collaborative thing. We say built by creators for creators. And so we move at the speed of creators as well with how we like to evolve the product. So that's it.
I love it. It's great. Thank you very much for that huge discount for my audience. I'm definitely going to be telling everybody to get onto Stampede Social because it's amazing. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the show. I had another great time talking with you and letting you shine with how awesome Stampede Social is.
Thanks for letting me shine, Phil Better.
To my audience, of course, thank you so much for listening and checking us out. Make sure you check out the show notes down below. And if you use hashtag invest50 on the social media posts, you'll get a link so that you can download and sign up to Stampede Social. We're going to get that started right now. Why not? Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, remember to always invest in yourself.